My name is Regis, and welcome to this FreeCAD video. Um, I've been trying to figure out something to talk about, and I haven't been able to make up my mind whether I wanted to probably give you some kind of in-depth, full, you know, design in FreeCAD, or if I just want to go along with a few tips and tricks or whatever. So I've just decided I was just gonna make a video and just flow along and see how it goes. Um, so this is FreeCAD. Um, so first of all, one thing I would like to say is that I really enjoy the way that FreeCAD is set up. In when you open it, you have this FreeCAD Start Center, and you have this quick button that takes you directly to a website in browse in on browser in FreeCAD, so I can click directly onto it, and this browser's within FreeCAD, and I have access directly to the forum. So this is pretty cool. Um, it has some basic functionalities, and you can log in and interact and see what's going on there. And that's a good way to keep up with pace with what's currently going on in the FreeCAD world. So for example, you can see you've got all these new projects that Ulrich has been working on that you can actually get to see and engage into some kind of meaningful conversation with the community as well if you're a user. So it's very open and it's very accessible, and that's something that I mostly enjoy as well about FreeCAD. So anyways, you can go back and check those things out. The next thing I would like to do is show you that you can start your project if you had a previously saved project, or you have all these direct links. You can go to the tutorials, the FreeCAD homepage, of course, and then you've got some example projects, and this is an example project, the example architecture model. So this is basically you can see a section cut and some elevations, one in wireframe mode and one in solid. So you can see when you look closely, you can see that the level of detail and the quality is there, and it does the job. It does explain uh, pretty much what's going on, and so you can see the section here. It's pretty legible. Um, it's pretty clean. As you can see. This is very basic, of course. And then here you've got the model itself that you can also observe and see how it was kind of put together. So it's, it's fairly good that it is made that way. And on the right here you've got the tree. So here you can see that this is the folder where all the dimensions are. So if I can hide the dimensions like that, or I can hide the entire model if I want to, or I can show the section planes, the section cuts, the section planes that are cutting to provide these views with. So it's very organized. You can organize the drawing, and everything is very simple, and it's very intuitive to work this way. So I'm just going to try maybe to do a very basic demonstration at first, while using some of these tools, just to see how it goes along, and how we can just generate or create basic stuff at first in FreeCAD. So I'm gonna close this, and so here I'm back in the start page. So I'm going to start a new project by clicking on this button here. So you can see it started a new folder. So right now I have to select the workbench. So for now, the three main workbenches that are probably going to be used the most would be uh, the architecture workbench, of course, primarily the workbench that would be used, and you've also got the draft workbench that will be used, and occasionally we can use a sketcher workbench. I mean, depending on the application, you can use it often or not, so it really depends. But for this particular purpose, we might not be using it as much, and sometimes too we might go into the part design and stuff like that. So those are the four main workbenches that could be used at any given time, but mostly we would be hanging out mostly in the architecture workbench, of course. So I like to organize my tabs, my tools this way. So I like to just click and hold that and just drag it up there so everything stays consistently within the view range. Um, as you can see here, so I have all the drawing options, the modify options, and then the snaps and all the elements here as well. So so that's looking good. So I'm just going to as you can see, the project name is unnamed here, so I'm just going to save as on my desktop, so that you know, what am I gonna call it? Maybe let's give it a name, FreeCAD demo tutorial. Alright, and as you can see, the name appeared here. Everything is looking good. Okay, so if I look down here, my units is telling me that I am in inches, obviously, because I can see 3/8 of an inch by 3/8 of an inch, and that describes the box that I'm here. Because if I scroll in and out, you can see that as soon as I move in, it's changing. I'm half an inch to a quarter of an inch. So that describes the box that we see here in front of us. And so I probably want to work in meters for now in this exercise, and here on the side you can see there's this blender, this button that says blender, and this is the um, scroll of the type of zoom of scroll wheel zoom and panoramic motion that you will like. Typically I tend to move between the blender and the CAD mode often, so either I go to CAD or I go to blender. So blender allows me to use the middle mouse button as a rotating like this, as you can see. Meanwhile, the CAD button allows me to pan around when I use the middle mouse button. So this gives me the sensation of working on a work plane rather, and this makes it easy to work on a 2D from a 2D perspective. Okay, so right now it's good that it's in CAD, so I can just move around. I just scroll out a little bit, and as you can see, the units are changing. But I want to change the units to meters, so I'm going to go to the edit preference, edit preference, and in the generals tab menu, I'm going to go to the units and building units. I'm going to pick building Euro okay, probably this one, MKS, right? That's the one I'm looking for. Okay, so everything changed here, as you can see. Now so this is as far as what the basic basic layout would look like for now. Alright, so now we seem to be ready to start laying out some stuff. One last detail is to pay attention all the time is the work plane. The work plane is essential to pay attention to, and also the snaps, because the snaps and the work planes is what allows you to feel comfortable working in any space mode and control the object. So this guy is of importance. What's it called? The working plane. So it allows you to make sure that the whatever you draw in space stays locked down into the specific work plane. So I'm going to explain that to you while we will be working. Okay, so I'm going to take a little quick break and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. So I just thought you probably be a bit more interesting to um get started with maybe the draft tools and start drawing a few things. So my grid is already there, so I can kind of see what's going on. So I'm gonna just take the first line and draw the first line. So I'm just going to draw this point from this point to this point, and let's look at the line properties. So I have this line, and I have all this information that tells me what the line is about. For example, if I want to know how long this line is, there's two things I can do. I have this option here that says survey, start survey, and if I click on the line, it's going to tell me 8.1 meters. Uh, so that's one way I can figure out. If I want to get out of that menu, I can double click outside of the object to deselect it, and then it's gonna go away. So that's one way. So, or the second way, I can select the line and come to the data property and see the length information here, 8.19. Equally, I can modify this length uh, from here, from this menu. I can call it, I can say I want it to be 10 instead, and you can see it did update it, and so now I have a line that is uh, 10 meters. uh, so that's very easy to control the length of any line anytime. So I select this line and I want it to be 20 meters, right? So I just enter the 20 meters like this, right? So okay, and each line has a name. Each object that you draw has a name. So I'm gonna delete this one, and we're gonna look at this one again. So here I can also control like with every object, the wireframe up. I can the display mode, so I can go to point. In wireframe, it's not gonna show us more because there's no difference between flat lines and wireframe for a line. So I can tell it to be dashed or dotted, or again dash dot, or for that matter change the color. Okay, well that was the hold on, line color. Okay, so there you go. Or the line thickness, I can change the line thickness. So like I said earlier, I like this option a lot, so I'm just gonna leave it to the default property where they were before. And also, if you see here, these tools here are the general tools for any object that you apply it with. For example, the thickness of the line is already one, and the opacity, um, this is the font size of the object, and then this is the color of the object. So if I were to change this to maybe 3 and 4, you will see that any line that I draw here by default is going to have this properties, as you can see here. So this is where I can predefine the type of uh, the type of line initial settings, right? So I'm gonna set this back to default and probably set the line thickness back to 2. Okay, just like that, and then I'm gonna delete all these new extra lines. So the next thing I'm going to look at is the polyline. It's called the draft wire or the D wire in FreeCAD. So I'm gonna click on it, and you can see that I can click from one point to another, and I can basically uh, make a consistent connection of lines, and I can click finish. Okay, and here as well I have all the same controls, and I also have more information here as how far I want to control this object. But what's particularly interesting about the D wire is I have what they call here the chamfer size and the fillet radius. So let's look at the fillet radius. So if I increase the fillet radius, let's go to have 0.1, You can see how it gave this a radius, right? 0.1 meters. I'm gonna go to 2, 5, and so on. Okay, you see how it gave everything a radius. So that's the fitted radius. Okay, and so it's very smooth, and this allows us to create very simple shapes and have very nice smooth rounded curves that are always parametric, because you can always increase that as you need it. Of course, like this, you see, it's pretty cool, I think. The other thing is, if I draw another one, just as an example, I can close it like that. If I close it, it creates a face. And in that face, I can have it in two modes. I can have it in make face mode true, or make face mode false, in which case it goes to the wire. It gives me the ability to play with it as a wire instead. And just like this other mode, you have the ability to control the radius, right? Fillet radius. Okay, you can see everything is being rounded. Alright, so it's looking good, like that. It's starting to look like a fancy table from the top view, you know. It's pretty cool. Okay. Okay, what else can I tell you about? And then for face mode, I can control the opacity value. So here there's a, on view there's the transparency, so I can set it maybe to 80, and you can see that it gives me this kind of opacity feel to it. This is very good for designing plans and 2D furnitures and stuff like that. And obviously you have the other options like the line. The line, you can always control the radius of the line at any time, and this is very perfect. I want it to be 1.5 meters. Okay, so there you go. It's perfect. Of course, you've got all the properties that you can play around. The placement allows you to control the position of the object in 3D space. So right now this is the 3D geographic location of the object in 3D space. So sometimes instead of moving things with these options directly in 3D space, you can just precisely control the unit from here as well. So this is pretty cool to know as well. Okay. Likewise, the axis controls the angle and the direction, the degree. I can tell you more about that later when we have a need to use that. Alright, so here's what I can tell it to be true or false, as you can see. Alright, true. And of course, here we have the arc tool. So I'm going to draw a line, and then I'm going to start from here and draw like this. And this is a tool that we use a lot to create doors with. You see, it's very perfect to create a door. So if I want to create a door, I'm just going to draw one line like this, and then another line like this, and then I'm going to stretch this down with this tool, the trim, and then snap right here, and then you can see that I already have a door. So I can try again on the other side like this, and then I click right here, or I go in this direction, and so that's how I have my arc. And likewise, this is very easy to control. You've got the radius property as well that you can always control. So straightforward. And here we have the ellipse. As you can see, I can always control these properties. Pretty cool as well. Okay. And here you have the polygon. So right now it's set to 3. Okay, so it's a triangle. So this is perfect for creating triangles. So or I can increase the number of faces at any time as well, and it gives me different um, geometric shapes that I want. So this is pretty cool, and I can control once again the size and more information. So alright, and obviously we have the square. The square is amazing, and we will be using it all the time. It's straightforward, and also you can control it at any time. So here I just drew a box, and I didn't take care of making sure it snapped right, so I just select it again and I make it 3 by 3. And obviously if you take the survey tool, you can check the area by clicking in this on the face or the edges length. Okay, so there you go. Now then you have the text tool, annotation tool it's called. So to use that, I just click in space and then I enter what I want to enter. Hello, this is a tutorial demo. And then I press enter one time and enter the second time, and it gets the text in. As you can see, I have the text that appeared there, and I'm going to select that text and come to the view and then increase the size with the font size. I can just scroll and you can see how it's going to increase. Okay, and maybe I want to make it 200, right? I can make it right center or right justified, some basic settings. The line spacing if you had more lines, the rotation, the axis, and then the color as well. You can change the color if you want to, of course, just like any other thing in FreeCAD. And here you've got the font name. You can change the font. Maybe I want to work only with Ubuntu font like this, or I want to work with Arial like this. So any font that is stored in your file system is going to be captured by this font name area. This is how you control the font. So this is looking good. What else? And then you obviously have the dimension, this guy. So let's click on him. I want to dimension from this point to this point. So I'm gonna click on that point, and I'm gonna click on that point, and I'll drag my dimension, and there you go. I have a nice looking dimension there. And obviously same thing applies. I can change the font of this dimension. I can say Ubuntu. I can change the font size pretty easily. I can change anything I want, the color as well, once again, and I can change the line width. Okay, and I can change the arrow size, make it smaller, or I can change the arrow or the tick, make it a tick. Some very basic settings, but it allows you to already get a sense of what you can do. I can flip the arrows, or I can flip the text, right? And more things you can see. I can tell it to have to show the unit or not to show the unit in this particular case. And this is the offset value from the line to the edge. So some basic control, just like any other CAD program, you're gonna have this basic control, and obviously the position and the distance and all the information you need to know. So that's that for that for those tools. These other tools are not going to be used quite often, but there are going to be occasional times where we're going to use that, and I'm going to tell you when I think I use them the most. But for this for this general purpose, this is already good enough for what we're trying to do. So I'm going to select all of that, and I'm just going to hold and drag up and select all of that, and then right click and then delete, and I have a clean slate again. Alright, so let me take a quick break and I'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. So, for the next part of this adventure, I thought it would be interesting to start from maybe a project that I am familiar with because I did it myself, and I can easily talk about it. So this is the kind of layout or result in terms of project that we will be trying to replicate. And obviously this is not a complete project. As you can see, I don't even have the windows, and I'll tell you what this is. This is a small competition project that I'm doing. So I'm not even sure how this is going to turn out in the sense, but I really like the idea of trying to work with small spaces. This is very challenging, and so this was a small project I decided to do in FreeCAD because it felt like it's worthwhile the challenge to do it in FreeCAD, and so this is it. So I'm still building up the project, and I'm not even sure what the end product is going to look like because you have to figure out a lot of things, but uh, I'm going to show you how you can get this far in terms of how you're going to work. So this is why I kind of brought this up. So uh, you can see how the floor plan kind of looks particularly clean and stuff like that. And um, so so what's good is that the idea is to create a small 45 square meter area, and so with FreeCAD I can easily create a few shapes to have an appreciation of what a 45 square meter space would look like, and then I can easily eventually test out the various ways that I can lay it out for more efficiency. And see, this is the trick about how we model in FreeCAD. Understanding how to be efficient with it. Because when you're modeling in some of these 3D applications, it's very hard to understand how to make quick changes and up and figure out quick layouts and move fast. We want to all jump into the 3D and all that stuff, but usually you have to figure out, the first basis for a lot of things is the floor plan. How does it work in the floor plan? Everything needs to first have a sense floor plan wise before you can start to talk about the 3D. And so this was a challenge in a way because I had not really ever created this kind of workflow. So this was the first time for me to actually be able to do something like this. It's very easy to work with, let's say, program like Revit or some of these currently existing programs, because you can just drag the walls, and AutoCAD has all these features where you can trim and move things up and down. Revit, you can just drag the walls and play with the dimensions, but in FreeCAD it's a whole different way of thinking. Um, trying to understand how to play around with it, and it was quite a challenge, and so I think this was a good project. So right now I'm just swiping through to show you a little bit how I was figure out the layout, and I'm going to kind of take you into a process of building this kind of stuff. It's not anything complicated, it's just um, just understanding what you're trying to do and knowing how to do it. So I'm just going to quickly swipe through, and sometimes I like to take pictures of what it looks like. It has this artistic appeal to it. Some of the line weights look very interesting when you look at it from afar, and they look very it has its own language, it has its own feel, and there's something very good about FreeCAD. It has its own identity. It doesn't try to look like the other programs. And so this is when I had figured out one potential working floor plan already. So it's, and I'll kind of get down to it and explain to you. So I'm trying to figure out the second floor plan, and everything looks messy. You see, everything looks like I'm trying to figure out things. I'm trying to build out this area, trying to understand how it works, trying to break down a few things, understanding the sense of what you're trying to create in FreeCAD, and then getting hitting your head against the wall until you get some kind of workflow that allows you to generate some kind of consistent way of thinking, and eventually it starts to make more sense. You begin to have interesting shapes come out and reveal itself, and you can work with that. Okay, so we're gonna try to see how we can get to this kind of result, in this kind of floor plan layout, so this kind of way of working in 2D. All right, I thought that this was interesting. Looks like a face. This is the guy's chin and all that. And this kind of futuristic, abstract, humanoid face. Anyways, so for the sake of this tutorial, I also opened the file itself here that I have to show you. I can easily refer to it along the lines while we're working. So this is going to be on the space. And also, I'm also going to be using this book, Francis Dickie Ching, and I'm going to show you a way to get some references. So, all right. So, let's hypothetically say that you wanted to work with a 45 square meter, and you had, let's say, a one bed, one living, one kitchen, one bath requirement to fit in that tiny kind of space, and you were you know you were to start a little bit with some confined spaces, right? uh, if you were to start with a confined space, what will it look like? And you have no idea what it would look like. So the first thing you would do is you get into FreeCAD and you're gonna draw the space itself. So I'm gonna draw a box. This is my box. This is the basic box, the rectangle. So here I have the dimensions of the rectangle. And 45 is obviously 6 meters by 7.5 meters. So I'm going to take my box and I'm going to type the height, 6 meters by 7.5 meters. So this is my box right here. So this is the size of just one of the sizes that I'm working with. So this is how I know what I have as a space to work with. Okay, now I'm going to make it I'm going to tell it to make face false, because I just want to see the guidelines. I just want to see the internal space, 45 square meter internally. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to have an idea of some of what I will call some assets, some objects, a few things. So for example, I want to know what is my corridor width, things like that. Okay, so a good example would be where I'm going to come and refer to decaying, for example, where I'm going to look for the door width, or a corridor, the dimensions of a human being. But architects already know these things. I already know it, but I want to show you how you can get to these kinds of information, how you can figure out something that's good for you to work with if you have no idea of what you're working with. So instead of coming here, actually, I'm going to go to the website and I'm going to type here human dimensions. And I'm going to go to image, and I'm going to look at a few things here that tell me the dimensions. Assuming that they're more or less accurate for what I'm trying to do. This is why I use this book, but not everyone is going to have the notion of thinking about using that book. So we have to find some good information, something that gives you information you can work with in terms of height, length, width, sizes. Um, okay, so I'm going to look for it and then get back at you. All right, so I brought up the picture of what we're looking for in the book, Dike Ching. So this is a bit what we're looking for. We're looking for human dimensions, and we're looking for, this gives us an idea. It's a kind of it's a bit blurry. Let me A02. Okay, well, we're gonna use the picture I found. Okay, so it's a human dimension is 5 feet by 6.5 inches max, or 1.5 meters by 1.8 meters approximately. So we can say that the height, a sensible height will be 2 meters, since we work in meters, or a general height of walls that is standard these days is 3 meters. Okay, so this is good. And then you want to know things like this. If a human is standing sideways, they're 2 feet by 2 inches of minimal space that you need for comfort. Or if they're standing frontwise, it's 3 feet 10, and or 1 foot 1 meters, 1.7 meters. So 1.17 meters. So in the sense, you want to, this is why the standard for corridors is 4 feet in US, in US standard. It's 4 feet. So anything less than 4 feet sometimes do not meet code requirements for corridors. And also in meters, it will be 1.2 meters. So we want to take that reference into account when we're working FreeCAD. So we want to say, okay, we want a box that's going to be, let's say, uh, 1.2 meters wide, 1.2, okay, by 1.2. Okay, so that's gonna help us guide us with whatever relates to the corridor space that we need in terms of circulation. Okay, and then what else? So this just tells you what 2 people look like, and 3 people, and stuff like that, and and what sitting look like, seats look like. And also here you will also have some of the seating position, some of the best dimension, 39 inch, so 9.9 meters um, by 80 inches to 84 inches, so for the height. So this gives you some general basic plan dimensions that you can work with that are standard already. So if you want to also find those, you can just basically type in uh, chair dimensions, um, and you can say, well, I want I want to know what the dimensions of a chair is. So this we want to look for it in meters because this is in inches. Um, let's say let's look for a good one. This is a sofa. So he says 56 centimeters by 56 centimeters. Okay, for this little stool, and then for the chair itself is uh, 40 centimeter by 77 centimeters. All right, so we can know that. So I'm just gonna take this box and then duplicate that. I'm gonna check the move and then copy, and then move one copy on the side, and this is going to be my chair. So I'm going to tell it to be um, 40 centimeters by 77. So I'm gonna come here and type in 40 cm. Alright, and I'm gonna come here and type in 77 cm, like so. Looks like a very interesting tiny chair. Okay, so what was the other one? Alright, the other one was the stool itself. Well, that chair does not make quite some sense. It's a bit tiny in a way. 77 centimeter by 40 centimeter. That's too small. I want a better looking chair in terms of dimensions. Well, I'm just going to go with this picture. It's gonna be just easy since I already have it. Okay. Let's see. So for sofa, I have for an armchair I have 0.565 meters. So I'm gonna type in here 565 and 56. Okay, so that looks good. That's my chair. Okay, and the next thing is maybe I want to draw this. I'm gonna draw a box 48, or maybe I want to make it 1.2 meters, right? So I'm gonna take that and duplicate that, copy that, and in this one I'm gonna make it 1.2 meters. Okay, and he says the max is 2.845. So let's actually try 2.8. All right. Oops. That's not right. Well, yeah, well, I guess it's right. So, but we're gonna go for a smaller dimension. Okay, so this is my armchair dimension. So it's 0.585. Okay, so I have my 0.585 here. 0.58. 0.58 like that. Alright, so we're gonna draw it. We're gonna draw the 2D representation. So it has this very tiny edge to it. So I'm gonna come into FreeCAD. I'm gonna take this line and I'm going to come to make false in terms of face, and then I'm select the line again, and I'm going to take the offset tool right here, and then I'm going to offset it by maybe something that looks approximately like it's accurate. So we're gonna say maybe 50 millimeters, and I'm gonna copy. Okay, so I'm gonna copy that, and I'm going to offset by 50 millimeters, or let's say 40 millimeters, like this. And so now I have that internal space, and so now I can model the contour of that. So I'm going to take that guy again and make it false as well, so I can see what's going on. So I'm going to take the polyline tool, like this. I'm gonna click right here, right here, and so on all the edges. And then here I'm gonna snap onto um, the extension, but I'm gonna turn off well, I'm gonna click here and then click here, click here, and then click here, and then here I can take this guy and okay, go back to I can either double click here and it opens the menu where I can grab this and snap it right there and finish that, and there you go. And then what else are we missing? Probably 2 lines towards the back, and I can just draw a box, maybe start from here and you know, snap it right there. Take that box and I can see that the height of it is 50 and the width and the length is 25, so I want it to be 10. And well, maybe I want to make it a little bit more smaller than that, maybe 75. Okay, hold on, just delete that. Snap right there. Then I'm gonna take this guy and 07. Okay, and and so I'm going to copy that, copy like this. Alright, and lastly I'm going to probably draw a line here like this, or yeah, and then I'm gonna take another box and do this. Okay, so now I can delete that line, and now these two rectangles that I initially started with, I can just move them on the side. I don't want to copy, so I uncheck this and I grab them from anywhere and then just move them onto the side like so. And so now I have all the shapes that constitute the sofa that we just saw there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them like this, select all, and I'm going to go to the part design, come to the part, and then I'm going to create compound, make a compound. So now I have one object. Okay, so you can see that that object has a tree now which relates to all of them, and I can rename that compound. I will rename it armchair, armchair, like this. And so if I were to make a copy of it, I'm going to go back to the architecture workbench. I'm going to make a copy of it. Right click here, and then copy. So the second armchair loses all of the link that the first one had. So now I can move this independently. So now I'm going to select this one and also come to the transparency value and make it 80. and so this is how I have my furniture. And I can also select it and come here and change the line width, make it 1, and this is how I have my furniture. Okay, so that's for my furniture. I can make a copy of him again and move him around here as one of my objects. Now I want to create the sofa, maybe 3 sofa. So to create a 3 sofa, I'm going to base myself from one of these sketches again. So I want all these internal dimensions to be the same. So what I'm going to simply do is I'm going to select this and I'm going to move it, copy, or maybe not. I'm going to select this edge and then snap it at this other internal edge, so that it gives me this internal space divided by one line in the middle, and then this internal space. And then I'm going to do the same thing and then make another copy, this time copy. So I'm going to snap from here to right here. Alright, and I'm going to take this line, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to hide that, not this guy, not this guy, not this guy, not this guy. So I'm pressing space bar to show them. I'm going to select this guy and then I'm going to double click on it, and I'm just going to drag this line and stretch it as you see, like this. So right now I'm trying to snap on this edge, but you see it's not trying to snap there. So I'm gonna turn off a few snaps that are probably responsible for that. So now I can see that I have this extension that keeps popping. I don't want it to show up. I have this equal thing. I don't want it to show up. And then I have this perpendicular. Probably is it the perpendicular or the plus? So this is this guy. It's the ortho. I don't want him to show up. Okay. Probably it's not snapping because this line is a face. So I'm going to change him to wire. Make face false. Alright. So now it's probably going to be much easier to snap. So I'm going to double click on it again. So I'm going to select that and snap it there like this, and then select that and snap it there like that. Okay, and then finish. I can make him a face again, true. Alright, so this internal objects, I can hide this for now and then bring back those hidden objects. This guy, I can double click, or maybe before I do that I want to create the dividers. So I'm just gonna select a line tool and then click on this edge and then click another edge and draw that line. I can hide this so you can see the line, and I can take this line and make a copy of that line. Click here, copy, and then probably click from this edge onto this other line, so I have a nice division of 3. So now I can bring back these other objects. I can double click on here, now take my box and stretch it all the way down like this, and it moves the upper end. I take the upper end and I stretch it back till it snaps there again, like so, and then I say finish. I do the same thing for this one. I modify it, just stretch it down like so, and then like so, and then this one finish, and then this one do the same thing like so and like so. Okay, so there you have it. I have a I have my armchair, so now I can turn these sub objects off like this and turn on this object because it updated the armchair. And what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to make a copy of this armchair and call it something else. So I'm going to select this armchair and then select the two lines that I drew along with it, this line and this line, and then make a copy. Alright, so now the armchair is one unit. So what I want to do is rename it. Well, what I want to do first is combine all of them into one object like this. I'm going to go back to the part workbench and then go to make a compound. Okay, so I have a compound now, and so I just want to break the link of that compound so I have one object. So I'm going to first rename the compound object. I'm going to rename it sofa. Okay, rename it sofa like that. Okay, and then I'm going to copy that onto the side again one more time, and here I have a nice clean sofa that is just one object, and I can also obviously change the transparency to 80% and probably the line width to 1, and there you have it. uh, I can I can move that sofa right next to it, move it, and I don't want to copy it this time. So now I have a sofa. Okay, so now I can get rid of all of these other objects that I used to draw. I can just edit box selection, undo that. Delete, 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 and delete, and delete this one as well, and delete this one as well, and delete that. Okay, so you see how we've created a nice object. It's called sofa here. We can rename it here again one more time. Okay, sofa, and this is going to be armchair. We seem to have another armchair there and another one here, so we want to delete those two guys as well. Alright, so now we have a nice armchair that we can start to use, and we can save this and always reuse it all the time. Okay, so this is an asset that you can always reuse all the time. So so that's it. So I'm gonna take a short break real quick. Welcome back, guys. So the next part of this is that we want to go ahead and quickly model some of the remaining features that you see here. For example, let's say door, some of the other chairs, and the sink maybe, and you know, the toilet. And so let's do that pretty quickly. This should be fairly easy now that we have a general idea of how to model some of these things. So maybe I'm going to start with the sink. So I want to get some general dimensions of what the sink is all about. So let me just try to type in um, kitchen sink dimensions right here and see what comes up. Okay, so I have a few things here, but once again I'm going to look for something with some millimeters value, and this one is not so much important because so crazy because um, you know it varies, the dimensions varies by manufacturer and also by designer. So but you want to get something that's just general for now. um, so this one looked like a pretty good, hold on, this one for example. Okay, this one looks like a very good one that we could go by. So let's just analyze the shape a little bit. So we have here a dimension of 1 meters, one 1.12 meters by about 0.51 meters. So let's do that real quick. So let's go back into our drawing and then let's draw another box again, very small one. Okay, and then let's call it, let's go to the data, and here we have the length 1.12 and 0.51. Okay, so that's it right there. And let's look at it again. So we have this internal basin. It's about 0.375 by 0.375. So let's go back to FreeCAD and let's just draw another box on the side. Okay, this box is gonna be hold on, 0.375 meters or 0.378, 0.38, like this. Okay, and then what else? And then this other one is 300 by 370. Okay, so I'm gonna take this one and duplicate it on the side like this. Take that and copy, check copy, and move that on the side. Take this one, and on the length I want it to be maybe 300. So take that off. Maybe not that one. 8 here and 0 here. So there we go. Okay, and then what else? I think that's about it. And it's this little dimension in the offset. We can just be arbitrary for that one. So now maybe we want to align that with the center. So I'm going to take my align tool and then just snap at the center and just draw a small line there, and then take this guy and probably grab him at the center there and then snap him there as well. I still have the copy command, that's why I copied that, so I'm going to delete the previous copy. And then so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to create the offset value from the edge. So let's see, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to maybe copy this and snap it right there. Take this guy, probably make him a false face, this guy as well, false, and then take this guy and offset him certain value. Okay, that seems to work just fine, and I didn't get the copy tool, so offset and copy right here. Alright, looks good. So now I can just take this guy and move him once again, undo the copy, and just move him onto the side here like this, and there you go. And so I can use this spatial configuration, this space as a standard, so I can just grab a box tool and then draw a box there, and then take this box and then move him right here, and then take this guy and then move him right at the edge of this box. Okay, so it doesn't snap because this guy's in a true fail, so I'm gonna make him false, and take this guy again and then move him like this and like that. So there you go, and make him false. There you go. And so now I can delete this guy. He's not useful, or maybe he could be useful again. Just gonna keep him for now. I don't need this guy anymore. So now what else? You can see that it's got some few rounded corners as well. So what we can do about that is we can select this and then fillet radius. I'm going to tell it to be probably let's try 10. It's pretty small. I'm going to do 20, maybe 40. Okay, this looks good. And this guy as well, probably go to 20, 40 as well, 40, and this guy as well, 40 millimeters. So just add a 4 there, and everything looks good. Press this and hide that, and I'm starting to have something decent. Okay, so now what I want to do is just I guess just simply draw a circle. Can bring this guy back, take this tool, maybe draw a circle right here, give it a specific radius. Maybe I want it to be 30 or 20 milli, like so. Okay, so I'm going to take a line and then take a line and draw a line right here, and then take this small circle and then move him from here and snap him to the middle there. Is it looking good enough? Yeah, it's gonna do the job. And then what I can do next is I can mirror that circle, or I can just copy the same thing, select both of them, and then hit copy, and then snap it from here to here. So now I have a sink, something that looks like a sink. And so another one last thing that I could potentially do is probably copy this guy right here, like so. Okay, and then make him a little bit thinner, probably probably let's say 20 here, or maybe 15, I guess. Alright, and so I'm gonna move him by just a few, by about this distance. Okay, whatever, looks good. So I'm going to remove the radius that it has, and I am going to make face true, and I'm going to shrink its size, probably maybe 20, like this, and also center it as well, like that, and then take that, grab him from the middle, and just move him to the middle, and then I can delete this line. And so what I want to do with this, I want to come right here, which is columns. I want to add a column, probably not the column, sorry, rows. I want to add a few rows like this. It's starting to look good. Another maybe 10. Okay, 10 is good enough. So now I want to Let's see what that looks like right here. It's just a bunch of lines. Maybe if I made face false, what do we have here? And if I delete this, what do we have? It's decent. Honest, and personally, I prefer the sync without this, but it's whatever for now. Okay, so the sync is not yet done because if we were to show face, make face true, face true, and then so we can select that, make face false, and then select this face true, and then face true. Alright, so like that. So face true. So that's our sync. Let's look at the dimensions. 0.51. It's good. It's looking good. Okay, so I'm gonna delete that, delete this, delete this, and honestly I don't like this. I'm gonna delete that, and I'm gonna bring back the sync right now. Okay, so right now, okay, so right now all these objects, pressing shift I can select all of them. Right now I can leave the drawing like as it is right now. It's very simple, it's basic. I can leave it the way it is. I can just come here and change the transparency value where I have 80 here, and this is what you could be looking at. So what's going on here? 80 as well, 80 as well, and 80. Okay, so there you go. So so I can leave it like this. It's gonna do the job for what we're trying to do, or I can break it down further where I could just, instead of having a combination of objects, I can just dissect this some more. So let me show you what I mean. Let me select all this and then take this and move a copy onto the side. So I'm gonna move the copy right there. So here what I can do is, let me hide this, hide this, hide this, hide this. So I'm gonna start with this guy and this and this guy. No, not that guy, that guy. Okay, so I'm gonna start with these two. I can make a hole. So I'm gonna select this guy and this guy, and then grab this tool, and I'm gonna make a hole. So right there, I have made a hole for that object, right? So I can always update that. So now I'm gonna bring the other guy in. I'm gonna do the same thing. Select the larger face. Select the larger face, and then select the smaller face, and then bring use the explode command, and it's gonna create the hole. So I have that. Now I have the bigger circle. So the bigger circle is the bigger rectangle. I can cut the same thing through. So I'm going to bring him out, and then I'm going to select this face. Well, I'm going to select the wait, which way comes first? Let's try. I'm gonna select this and then that and then drop that. Okay, so that's what it created. It looks funky. Okay, and then I'm gonna select this guy and then this guy and do that, and so there you go. That's what I meant when I said I can either break it down some more and have this just this simple shape with this feel to it, rather than have all of these objects, right? So it's really it really depends on how you want to work with these things. So now you can see I have one object there, and this is the one that retains all the links. So this is the one you can always modify. So it really depends. But honestly, I do prefer this one quite a lot. So for this one, what I'm gonna instead do, since they're all broken down like this, alright, so is that um, I am going to go to our familiar part workbench and go to make compound, and I'm gonna make a compound, and so now I have a nice compound right there. And this compound as well, if I want it to be one object, I can just copy, oops, I can just select the compound and copy him as well. I don't know why I'm selecting just that, and then copy, and it's selecting my, not sure why it's selecting this box. Hold on. Oh, this box is included in the compound, so I'm gonna delete this compound, and I'm gonna break them out, and I'm just gonna select all of this and go back to the part workbench, compound, make compound, and I have a nice compound, and I can break the compound into a simple object by just making a copy of it. And there you go, just like this one, I have a nice compound just like that one. So it really depends on what you want to do. So, well, maybe I don't want too many objects, so I'm just gonna delete the ones that have retained the processes. So I'm gonna select that and select that, delete, and then select these guys. I'm gonna open the tree view because all of the objects needs to be deleted, and delete. Nice. And so now I'm left with simple objects. So now I can simply rename this one sink, and I guess sink here as well. Sink, rename right here. Rename sink 2. Okay, so there you go, we got our sink. And then change the line width down a bit. Good, it's looking good. It's looking good. So now we want to draw our countertop. Generally speaking, our kitchen countertop are 0.6 meters wide, standard. So I'm gonna just enter that value here, 0.6 meter. Where are you? 0.6, and there you go. So that makes our good kitchen countertop, and I'm going to make it false for the face, and then I'm gonna grab this guy and just maybe move him inside so it just looks like it belongs somewhere, and probably move him to the middle like this. Alright, that looks good, and delete that, and this one make true, and I'm gonna give him a transparent value of 80 as well. There you go, and the line width of 1. There you go. And so for the countertops as well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this one, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste him. Same thing, but here I'm going to just change the I'm just going to change the thickness to 30 like this. So there you go, and I want to move him to the top. Hold on, make face false. Okay, make face false, take this guy and move him to the top like this, and then I want to give him a dashed line, draw style dashed. Okay, so it looks good. And also I want to give him a instead of I want to give him a wireframe line, and this guy I want to bring back the face true. So now I have a good representation of a kitchen, and so this allows me to always modify it when I want, so I can just click there and double click and just change the length of the countertop at depending on what I want to do. So that's good already. So we've got our kitchen. Okay, bring him back. I'm missing a snapping option here for some reason. This guy's in wireframe, but still make face false. Okay, let's try this one more time. I'm missing a snapping option here. Or I can just draw another box. Interesting. So this is something I'm noticing with FreeCAD, is that we don't yet have an option to tell it which object is above another object, or maybe we do and I am not familiar with it, because it does recognize when an object is above another one. And so if there's a large if there's a if there's an object above this one, and I'm trying to, let's say, snap an object that I'm drawing on top of this surface, it's not going to, to an object here, it's not going to be able to read that. So maybe that's something that we can fix and stuff. So okay, so that's our kitchen. Alright, so let's save that. It's looking good. So what else are we missing? Well, we are missing maybe a table. A table is an easy one. We can just look in some table dimensions. So a low table dimension probably has a 0.585 dimension by 1145. So I'm just gonna draw that. 0.58 by 1.125, I guess. Or maybe 45. Of maybe 45. Doesn't make a big difference. And so I come here to transparency 80 and line width 1. Okay, so that's our table. This is a very simple one. So let's position him with the rest of the objects. So put him here with the couch. I'm going to rotate that like this. Alright, and then press shift to lock it into that angle. Otherwise it's going to be trying to move around, and I want it to lock it in that direction. Or I can type it 90 degrees here and enter. So now I can move it. Well, I'm going to move it at the center, here. Alright, and then I'm going to give it a gentle spacing um, gentle foot spacing, probably of 0.2 meters. Oh, well, this is already good enough. Okay, so that's our table. What are we missing? Um, we are probably missing, okay, a toilet, a shower, and a bed. Okay, a toilet, a shower, and a bed. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to model the toilet. So we're gonna look for some dimension. Toilet dimensions. All right. I'm gonna look for some good dimensions. This looks good. This looks pretty good as well. As a modeling exercise. Let me see if there's not any other one that looks better. Let's look at this one. Yeah, fairly simple. But maybe this one. Let's look at this one. View file. Okay. So we have here basic plan. We have here 370, 660, and 4 overall. And then we have here 360. So let's draw this one. So we know that our length, overall height is 660. So let's go back to our model and draw that. I'm gonna take it the square command, draw that and get say height. I'm gonna say 0.66 right there, and I am going to look at the other one by 360, right? Okay, so this is 0.36. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to make that false. That's the total size. And then what else can I have as information? So it seems that everything else seems to be arbitrary, almost to an eye level kind of deal. Alright, so I'm gonna select this rectangle and I'm gonna make a copy of it. I'm gonna copy and I'm gonna paste it. Alright, and on the second copy I'm gonna change the height. I'm gonna bring it down to maybe let's look at 5 or 4. Okay, this looks good. I'm gonna select this guy and then copy him, copy and paste. And this other guy, I'm gonna tell him to be maybe 3 or 10, right? Or yes, hold on. Let's see. Maybe 20. I'm going to move him to the top. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna take this rectangle and hide him a little bit. So I have two objects. So now I can take this object and I'm gonna copy that. Copy. I'm gonna paste him. What just happened? It seems that I deleted him instead. So paste him. So I have two of them. Alright. So I'm gonna hide one of them, and then this guy. I'm going to come here to radius. I'm gonna type in 1. Maybe it's too small. Let's see that. So 1 meter is way too big, so I want a very nice smooth radius, so I'm going to try 10 millimeters. So, alright, it started to reveal itself, so we need to increase that. I'm going to go to 100. Okay, it's looking good. uh, look at our curve. It's a very smooth curve, so I am going to increase that by 2. Nope, that's not what I was trying to do. Go back to 1. Okay, so let's say 1.5, 1.67. Okay, this is good enough for what we're trying to do. Anything more than that is not, it's just gonna screw it up. So now we have that. We want to explode this rectangle. So I'm gonna take that, select the rectangle, and I'm gonna explode the rectangle. So you can see it created all these individual edges. Okay, so I don't want these edges. I'm gonna delete this guy, delete this guy, delete this guy, delete this guy, and delete that guy. So now all I'm left with is this. Okay, looking good. So I'm gonna bring back this other guy that I was hiding, and this guy as well. I'm going to explode him, and so I'm going to just delete this line, and for this line I'm going to stretch it till it snaps here. I'll do the same thing with this guy, stretch it till it snaps to the edge of that line, and this is how I have all these I have this nice curve. So now I can select all of this and build it back together into one object. I'll weld it together and then bring it back into a face right there. So that's it. This is our face. Looking good. Now we want to do the same thing more or less with this guy, but with this guy it's going to be much more simple. We can just give it a very smooth curve, and that should probably be good enough. So we're going to put it at maybe 20, or let's see, 60. Okay, that looks good. It's good enough for what we're trying to do. And then make face, of course, true, and take these two objects, go to the part, and what we're gonna do, part, compound, make compound, and then we have our compound. You can rename it toilet. There you go, it's looking good. And then go back to the architecture and then select that, move a copy of it, and so this is our copy. Line width, change the line width and bring the transparency value to 80, and there you go, we have our toilet looking good. So we can delete that, and delete that. Okay, now we were missing our bed, I think. So we have a bed here, and then we have a shower, and we have shelving. So but you basically get the general idea of how this begins to work. So I'm going to pause from here and then get the other drawings done pretty quickly so that we can save some time. guys. So following the modeling of the the toilet, I want to show you something. So here's, for example, view file. Here's, for example, an example of a way to position something to have in mind. So it gives you a pretty good idea of the placement of the toilet in bathroom. So it tells you that if you want if you want to meet code requirements and also ergonomic requirements, um, with this guardrail, handrail, whatever you want to call it, especially for people with wheelchair, you must offset the toilet by 455 uh, um, 0.455 meters off the wall, right? So we're gonna try to do that here as well, so that our object meets the requirement. So I'm just going to draw a little hypothetical box here, and then I have the I'm gonna make the box false face, in terms of face, and then I'm gonna select this, and then I'm going to move it inside like this, snap right there, and then move it on the top end. Okay, so it's telling me that the ADA access is from the center of the toilet all the way to the edge. So that means that I'm going to draw a line from this edge, and I'm going to just snap it right here, and then I'm going to give it the dimensions. The length of the line is that, so I'm gonna put 445. Hold on, 0.45. So it's 0.45. Sorry about that. Hold on. So I want to draw 0.45 like that, and 0.45 like that. So I want to just take this and snap it right here. So basically I know that from this center to this center, okay, and so now I can move this up here like that. So now I can delete that, and now I know that I must maintain this edge on the side. So maybe I can probably draw a box as a reference, and then I'm going to go to the architecture draft. Actually, move that right there, and then select this line, and then grab the mirror tool and draw a line there. So there I know that my object fits well in its place. Okay, so that's one little detail that I wanted to show you. So now one thing that we didn't model was the door. Let's look at a door here. This is a standard, these are some standard door dimensions. So typically in the US, some of the door heights, the standard door height is 7 foot. So we're going to be working with that, but probably since we're working in meters, we're going to work with 2.1 meters height. And as far as the width, the standard width in America is 3 foot wide, but here it's in millimeters is it's 0.915. So we're gonna work with that as well, or maybe we're just gonna work with 0.90. That seems to be the standard. So here, how is that gonna work? So first I'm going to draw my line here I'm going to draw a line that is I'm going to call it length 0.9. Okay, that's my length, 0.9. And the next thing I want to do is I want to draw my arc, or maybe I want to draw thickness. Yeah, I want to draw the arc. Let's go with the arc first. Or well, maybe the door width. So let's get some reference here. Here it says 35 or 45 centimeters thick. Okay, so back in FreeCAD, I'm going to tell it to be 45 centimeter thick. Okay, it's giving me, I'm gonna put a C right here. No, that's not the millimeters. I don't want it to be in millimeters. I want it in centimeters. Alright, that's what I want. So now I want the height of that door to be 0.9. That's it. So now I want to move it. I want to move this edge right here. And so how does the door swing go? The door swing goes from this edge to this edge, so it locks down like this. So I want to take the arc and start from right here and snap right here and snap right there and just draw a line like that. So that's my door. It's looking good. So now I want to draw the little wood on the side. So if I am assuming that my wall is, let's say 1.5, I'm going to assume that my wall is maybe 0.2 meters thick, like that. And I'm first going to create the dimension 0.2. Okay, so now that I got the thickness, I probably want it to be maybe what, 10 millimeters, 10 centimeters wide, like this. So now I can move this right there. It is still kind of too thick, so I'm going to 0.1, so 10 millimeters. Generally they are 15 centimeters, but anywhere from 10 centimeters to 15 centimeters. So I'm just gonna put a C here, and let's see. No, I'm gonna make this 5, 0.5, and I'm gonna copy this on the other side. Like that. So that's my door. That's my door. So that's everything that's going to allow me to control my door. So now I can select everything and then go to the part workbench and part make compound. In this compound I'm going to call it door, rename, and I'm going to type door 90 cm. Let's actually verify that's actually 90 cm. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the architecture. Since I've already exploded this and I copied it, it lost its properties, so I'm gonna verify the length. Okay, so it's all good. So that's my door. um, so what I can do as well is create different orientation of the door. I'm going to go to the draft again one more time, and I'm going to select this tool, the mirror, and I'm just going to mirror this right here, and I'm going to select these two guys and mirror them right there. So this allows me to always have a handy door selection right in any kind of orientation. And by the way, I am missing another thing. So I have to select this and also copy this on the side like this. Okay, and then select it one more time like this, and then rotate my doors by 90 degrees. So then I can always have um, a way to copy the door in any kind of orientation that I want to. So that's for the most part the gist of it. We haven't drawn the bed yet. That's a very minute detail. We can always figure that out easily. This is something, well, let's actually do that real quickly. So we have a 990. Let's do that. Um, okay, so we have a bed here. Let's tell it to be, um, well, maybe we want to do, maybe we want to do um, the queen size bed. So we're gonna work with 1370, 1.37. So we're gonna tell it 1.37, and the height is it says anywhere from 80 to 84. So we're gonna work with 2135. So 2135 here, 2135. So 2.135. Okay, so there you go. So that's our bed. What else there? So we can create the pillow. So just to create the line, let's say we can duplicate this line, copy, paste. So I select that line. I probably reduce the height a little bit. Probably go down to 1.8. Maybe that's too short. That's not short enough. Maybe 1.4. Okay, that's better. Make this a false face, so we can be able to select things above it. And I'm going to just quickly draw. I'm gonna locate the center here just so I have a reference, just a visual reference. And I am going to draw a pillow like case here. Give it some decent dimensions, 0.25 by 0.5. Okay, that looks good. So I'm also just gonna uh, locate it I need an extra snap to something here. I'm gonna turn those off. Probably turn off the grid. No, maybe not. Center. I'm gonna turn that off. Turn that off. What is this one? This is the intersection. I might leave that on. Perpendicular. Let's see what happens. Still not snapping onto the edge. Something is not right. Extension and point, midpoint, perpendicular. Let's see, ortho. I guess I was missing ortho. Okay. There you go. So I select this guy, select his midpoint, uncheck the copy, and click right there. And also it looks good. So delete that line, select this guy, mirror that onto the other side, and there you go. And the next thing is probably do the little triangle thing. So I'm going to select this polygonal face, and then tell it to have 3 sides, and then I'm just going to draw that right there. That's enough. You know, the radius is enough, so I'm just going to select that. So what do I want to do? Let's see. Well, that's not what I had to do. What I had to do was probably draw a box here like this, and probably also make this false, and so I can now uh, draw a line here like this, and then I can explode this. I can delete that actually, and I can just simply draw a polygon here like that. Alright, undo that and just click there, so it's looking good. So I can delete the line. I don't need that anymore, so I have my nice looking polygon. Can delete that. I can actually increase the size of this guy back maybe to 1.8 again, or no, maybe 1.7 like this, or maybe 1.6, and then take this guy and simply move him up like this. So now everything's looking good. So bring my shapes back together. Make face again true. Okay, and this guy make face again true. Okay, so that's my bed. So I can select all of those guys. Okay. Select all those guys, and then make a copy on the side. Obviously this mirror doesn't want to be selected, so I'm gonna select it, and then select that and that, and so make a copy on the side. Okay, so it's lost all of its memory. So what we're gonna do now is convert that into, let's go to part workbench, part compound, make compound. So now we have a nice compound, so we're gonna call it, rename, we're gonna call it bed. Simple. So now that we have bed, so we can to simplify that, we can copy that again one more time, copy that, so now everything just looks at one piece. And so now we can control the transparency value as well pretty easily. Okay. Okay, so now I can delete this, delete that. Okay, so now everything's deleted, so now we have a nice looking bed, so we can move him around. Let's put him next to the other furnitures, uncheck the copy, move him right here, bring down the line width to 1, and everything looks good. As for the bathroom sink, we can simply do a quick one, a quick simple one. Let's see here, we can just let's use this dimension as a reference. I don't remember exactly what it was. I'm gonna get these dimensions, 0.3 wide by 0.38 wide. So I am going to just draw 0.3 by 0.38. Looking good. Good. So I am going to give it some kind of fillet radius, probably 10, too small, 30, M, okay, so 30, like so. Does it look good? Maybe increase that a little bit more, 50. Yeah, well, we're gonna work with this. So I'm going to offset that a little bit. I'm going to make a copy and then offset that by maybe 12 millimeters. There you go. And the next thing is probably draw a hole, make face false, true, okay, false, and then I'm just gonna draw a small hole on that center right there. Not that, close that, select the circle, and I'm going to select cancel. I'm gonna select the nearest and the snap. How did you get all the way there? Okay, so I'm gonna select this nearest when I draw. So I'm gonna select that. So you see it snaps everywhere. So I'm gonna select the nearest, so it allows me to draw anywhere. So I'm just gonna do that. Perfect. Alright, now I can delete this. I don't need that anymore. Okay, so true. And so I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select that, and select that. And I can just, oops, I made a mistake of selection. So I select the large guy, and then shift select the small guy, and then I press the down button, and it creates my nice hole, and that's my bathroom sink. And so now I can just copy these two objects and simplify them. Copy that to the side, simplify that. So I have my two objects, and I can go to the part design and make it compound as well. Rename bat sink. Okay, so there you go. So I can simplify that again, architecture, and copy that. Okay, so I can delete this, delete this, delete that. I have one object there. I can delete this, delete that, delete this, and delete this. And I don't need these two dimensions anymore, so I'm gonna delete them as well. Okay, so I can just rename that so it looks a little bit clean. Okay, so I can also put its transparency to 80 and change the line width back to 1, and I want it to look like that, so everything is looking clean. So now I more or less have some of my assets. The only thing now that I think I'm missing is probably the bathroom shower. So once again we're gonna come here and type in bathroom shower dimensions, well, I'm gonna say shower stall dimension. Okay, so I have a few ones here. It's giving me this one right here. Let me see if I can view that file. Okay, so this is in inches. I want something in meters. Otherwise, that would have been a good one. This one as well as in inches. I mean, I could, actually convert these values and get them in meters, but I just wanted to just pick something directly because this is a basic tutorial. I don't want to get into doing a lot of complex complexity, complex calculations and conversions and stuff like that for no reason. So I'm looking for a good one. Metric. So maybe I should precise that I want it to be metric. No, that's still in let's see what this one is. Okay, so you have a good one here. Actually, it tells you. So it gives you a few options. It tells you that this width here's it's 9.9 meters by 0.9 meters wide. So that's all we need to know. I could have easily measured all the things that I did, but I just wanted to show you once again. So I'm gonna draw that. Just gonna draw my box there and then tell it to be 0.9 by 0.9. As simple as that. And I can probably go to the make face, make false, just so I can work in and out of it. I can select that and I'm going to offset a copy inside by a very tiny margin, maybe 30 millimeters sounds good. Like this, make this guy false again, and all I have to do now is probably draw a line and another line. Now I'm not gonna put the whole the direction of the drain because it allows me to just model in any direction and place it where I want without worrying where the hole is gonna be placed. So this I am going to bring back those other faces, true and true, and all of them I'm going to combine them once again. So as you can see, we're moving back and forth between the architecture and draft workbench quite often. Some of these tools are interchangeable, so it's just that Yuri has converted some of the part tools into the architecture tools, but some of these tools are the same thing if you know exactly what they do. So I'm going to copy that again, to copy that and move that on the side to make a simple copy, and I'm going to rename that. I'm going to call it shower. It's very simple, and then move that on the side again, and it's a simple copy. So actually I didn't need to move that twice, so I'm gonna delete the original version which has all the initial drawings. Delete that, and delete this line. So now I have this guy, and I will play with its transparency value 80. See, it's looking good, and I am going to also change this line width to 1. So now we are almost ready to play with some stuff here. So I'm gonna put him right here. That was a copy. Delete it. Move that. Uncheck that and move that right here. So there you go. So this is what our assets would look like. So now I just have to make everything look a little bit cleaner. So right here I'm gonna delete that. That's unnecessary. So I'm gonna right click here and I am going to create group, right? So it brings this new folder down here. I'm gonna rename that. I'm gonna call it assets. Okay, so every asset that I have here, I'm gonna put it in there. So I'm gonna put that there. everything. And basically all these doors. Okay, bingo. So now I'm left with just the basic other shapes. So if I hide these assets, these other doors are not in there. They don't think of themselves as being part of the club. I'm gonna fix that real quick by simply copying this and make it lose its information. So I'm gonna copy that like that, and I'm just gonna simply select these guys again and copy them back. I'll move them back into position. So I'm gonna uncheck the copy and simply move them back. Alright, and then here I'm gonna delete the initial guys. So this guy, so this guys as well. Right click, delete. Okay, so now we've got this guy. So I'm gonna put them back in the folder assets, drag it and drop it there. So now we're good. So now we have our assets looking good. Maybe I want these doors to be also a bit transparent, and also to have a line width of 1. Okay, there you go. So in the next part of this, I'm going to start showing you how you can start to play around. I hope that this was pretty helpful. It was a pretty lengthy tutorial. I wasn't expecting it to be so long, but in the next part I'm going to show you how to start playing around and to place them, but you can already go ahead and start doing that yourself. So I hope you enjoyed it, and looking to hear back from your comments and what you think about this whole FreeCAD ordeal. Okay.